So you've got Apple's brand new, super thin iPhone. But what if I told you there's another one? For $400 less, you could get something that's almost as fast, has better speakers, and a bigger battery. Yeah, you heard that right. Today, we're putting the sleek iPhone Air up against its more affordable sibling, the iPhone 16e, to figure out which one is actually the smarter buy.
All right, let's just cut to the chase. Is that slick design and fancy feel of the new iPhone Air really worth an extra $400? We're going to break it all down and see what's what.
Okay, in this corner, we've got the iPhone Air. It's coming in at a cool $999, and it's all about that premium, elegant vibe. And in the other corner, the iPhone 16e, a seriously powerful compact phone for just $599. I mean, that is a huge price difference. Let's see if the Air's got the goods to justify that cash.
All right, first things first. Let's talk design and display, because this is where you're going to see the biggest, most obvious differences right off the bat.
You know, when you pick up the iPhone Air, it feels insanely thin. The rounded corners are super comfortable, but that polished titanium frame, oh boy, it's a total fingerprint magnet. Seriously, the 16e, on the other hand, with its matte aluminum and slightly smaller size, is actually a little easier to hold on to. It's a classic battle, right? Elegance versus good old-fashioned practicality.
But what's really interesting is when you look at some of the specs, you realize how similar they are where it really matters. I mean, the weight difference is just 2 grams. That's nothing. You won't feel it. And they both have the exact same IP68 water resistance, so yeah, they can both take a splash. When it comes to everyday toughness, it's basically a tie.
Okay, let's talk screens, because this is where the Air really starts to show off. We're talking a bigger 6.5-inch display, a buttery-smooth 120Hz refresh rate, and it gets way brighter when you're outside. The 16e? Well, it's kind of stuck in the past, with the 60Hz screen and that old-school chunky notch. The Air, of course, has the newer dynamic island. Big difference.
So let's be real here. The iPhone Air's display is just better, period. It's brighter, it's sharper, it's way smoother thanks to promotion, and it even has tougher glass on the back. If we're judging on screen quality alone, there's no contest. The Air takes this round easy.
All right, now for the fun part, sights and sounds. And I gotta tell you, this is where things get weird. The camera and audio results are definitely not what you'd expect.
So check this out. Both phones have a single 48-megapixel main camera. And if you're outside on a sunny day, honestly, the photos look pretty much identical. You'd have a hard time telling them apart. But, and this is a big but, the Air has a larger sensor, and that's huge when it gets dark. The Air's low-light photos are just cleaner, less grainy. And for video, the stabilization on the Air is rock solid, while the 16e, well, you can see every single footstep.
So you'd think the bigger, pricier phone would have the better speakers, right? I mean, that just makes sense. Big screen, big sound, they usually go together.
Get ready for this, because it's one of the biggest shocks of this whole showdown. The fancy iPhone Air, it only has a single speaker in the earpiece. Meanwhile, the cheaper, smaller iPhone 16e has a full-on stereo speaker setup. And let me tell you, it completely blows the Air away. We're talking deep bass, way more volume. It's a massive, totally unexpected win for the 16e. Crazy.
Okay, let's dive under the hood and talk performance. We're going to look at the specs on paper versus how these things actually run in the real world. And this is where the story gets complicated. So, inside, the Air is rocking Apple's newest A19 chip with 12 gigs of RAM. The 16e has the A18 and 8 gigs, which is still really good, by the way. But on paper, that's a clear win for the Air. But then you look at the USB-C port, and both of them are stuck on the super slow USB 2.0 standard. A real letdown on both.
Now, when you run those synthetic benchmark tests, you know, the apps that just crunch numbers to see how powerful a chip is, the results are exactly what you'd expect. The iPhone Air, with its A19 chip, just crushes it. On paper, it's the undisputed king.
But then, another major plot twist. When you stop looking at numbers and start doing actual real-world stuff, this story completely flips. We exported 99 photos in Lightroom, and the cheaper 16e was minutes faster. Minutes! Even rendering a quick video in CapCut, the 16e finished first. It really seems like that super thin design on the Air just can't handle the heat when you push it.
Yeah, that brings us to heat. After just 30 minutes of gaming, that super thin iPhone Air got hot, like really hot. It hit 49 degrees Celsius. That's about 120 degrees Fahrenheit.
So yeah, being that thin definitely comes with a price when it comes to keeping things cool.
And what about the battery? Well, get this. The smaller, more compact 16E actually has a bigger battery inside. And not only that, it charges faster with the cable too. The only place the Air wins is with faster wireless charging, thanks to MagSafe. But for most people, that bigger battery is a huge deal.
Okay, let's wrap this all up. It's time to answer the big one, the $400 question. Which of these phones should you actually spend your hard-earned money on?
$400. That's the difference we're talking about here. That is a lot of money, so the reason to spend it has to be really, really clear.
And hey, to put that in perspective, somebody did the math. You could buy about 128 Snickers bars with that kind of cash. I mean, that really makes you stop and think about what that money gets you, doesn't it?
When you look at all the facts, the iPhone 16e is just the smart, practical choice here. If you care more about how a phone works than just how it looks, you're getting performance that's often better in the real world, you get way better speakers, a bigger battery, and you save a giant pile of cash. It's a no-brainer for most people.
So who is the iPhone Air for? Look, it is absolutely the elegant premium option. There's no denying that. It's the better phone if, and this is a really big if, looks and that gorgeous 120Hz screen are the most important things in the world to you, and you've got the money to burn.
And it's super important to remember that under the hood, the day-to-day experience is identical. They're both running the same latest version of iOS, they both get all the new Apple Intelligence features, and you can expect both of them to get updates for 7 years or more. The foundation is the same. But that brings me to one last thing, something to really chew on. Both of these phones, they only have one main camera. At these prices, competitors are giving you telephoto lenses, ultrawides, the whole shebang. So maybe the real trap isn't which of these two phones to pick, maybe it's the fact that Apple is making us choose from such limited options in the first place. Definitely something to think about.